Releasing clothing, whether it's just a single piece or an entire collection, can be crazy. And it can be made even more so if you don't have a reliable file organization system that's going to help you get on top of the marketing and the product and the designs itself. And this will only become more of a problem as you expand and you grow and you scale. As your teams get larger, your organization will need to get better. It's just how it goes when there's more people and there's more moving parts in the process. So I'm Elijah Delport, and today I'm going to show you a very reliable file organization structure that you can take for yourself and use as a guide and personalize. Use the things that you like, take away the things that you don't. I've worked on video projects with some of the largest brands that exist, including Champion, Culture Kings, and Johnny Big. They're just a few of them. And I've had to use some very organized file management systems in order to stay on top of these projects. And so I'm going to teach you maybe and show you one of the structures that I've created that might be helpful to you too. Let's get straight into it. So here it is. Here's your clothing campaign. You'll have to imagine it with me for a second here. So this is just a fictional clothing campaign, but just insert any of your past collections or future collections or piece drops. So the way I like to break it down first is into three categories, right? You've got master, you've got product, and you've got marketing. And you might notice throughout this file organization, I've also got these numbers that preempt whatever the title of the folder is. This is a way I like to do forced ordering, right? Of course, whether you're on Windows or Mac, whatever your operating system is, you will of course have options to order by name, by date, whatever, by date of creation, date of the way I like to do it is forced ordering, because sometimes playing around with those inbuilt ordering systems doesn't really work for me. It might work for you, but this is how I do it. And so that's what you'll notice is the 1, 2, 3. So first of all, let's start with the master. Inside the master, there is a few files here that you'll have, and folders, new folders that you'll have to make note of. The first one is this. This will be the untitled the untitled campaign project file. And so what this is it's kind of like a master document that is overlooking the campaign as a whole. And in here, you include things like the idea of the campaign, the title of the campaign, how many garments, maybe some general information about what it's about and what kind of clothes that you're releasing. This is like the broadest, most information goes in this campaign project file, and it'll become more clear what you include and what you don't include. Then below this, I have some more folders here, and they include the ideation folder. So in here, you could put things like examples or mood boards. This isn't so much to do with other designs as much as it is about other campaigns. Again, this is the master. This is the broadest, most folder. We haven't got into the product specifically in the designs that you're going to create. This is just about the campaign. So think conceptually, right? So you can put examples, you can put mood boards, and then you have the concept itself of the campaign. So you might want to put in here copy and research. So copy is any of the, when I say copywriting, this is about the words. So the words that you might put on social media or your website. So things you might say, the title for the campaign or specific catchphrases, that all goes under the copy tab. And then you also, under here, you have research. And the research is to, especially if you have any sort of historical motive behind the campaign, or maybe it's rooted in truth or in history. These are the kind of elements you might want to think about. In this way, you might have some research sources, and then you can just keep everything very organized under this one campaign folder. Then, next, coming out into the master folder again, we have a few. There's the last folder here, is the number 4, is the stats and data. And stats and data is going to be all about what you're going to be tracking after the campaign and maybe throughout the campaign, right? So things like abandoned cart rate, campaign impressions, conversion rate, revenue, expenses, and profit, reviews and comments, sellout times, website visits. These are things that you are really important down the track. You might want to show them to an investor. You might want to use them in a future campaign to say, hey, get on this quick. Look how quick it sold out last time. You can put in screenshots, all the stats and data, anything you might want to track, even just to keep, for keepsake, for a memory, one day going back and thinking, what kind of revenue were we doing back in the day? Here it is. Here's the revenue that we did on this specific campaign. Or here's how many we sold of this specific size, of this specific color. And you can, because here's the thing, you cannot improve what you don't measure and what you don't track. And so if you track it, and over time you can have this you can create mass systems of data and say, we have consistently sold out on the large sizes, and it's always been quite slow on the small sizes. And so in the future, what we're going to do is we're going to increase the large size and decrease the small size, like stuff like this. And you can only get this by tracking the data, right? So that is the master folder. Now coming back out, if we come all the way back out to the clothing brand folder as a whole, underneath the master folder, we have number 2, which is product. Now, product is going to be about, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's about the product itself, right? So it's about the designs, it's about the materials, what are the customers going to have in their hands, and everything surrounding that experience. And so you might have some other elements to do with packaging and things in here. The first thing that I think is a really good, obvious start is having a product timeline. And the product timeline is going to be when are you starting the design? When do you want your deadline to be finished for the designs? When do you want your first samples in? When do you want to finish your last samples? When do you want to have your shipment in? When are you announcing? And then when are you dropping? And when are you shipping the product out? This is the timeline that you need. A massive problem that I speak with many clothing brands, especially in the early phases, is the fact that they messed up, right? And why did they mess up? It's because their manufacturer or supplier messed up, right? So the excuse is that, they were late. But if you plan this far in advance and have very organized timelines, then it doesn't matter if your manufacturer is late or something goes wrong, you have to do an extra round of samples. You've left buffer time because of things like product timelines, which allows you to still deliver on time and show up for your customers. Because at the end of the day, it's your responsibility to show up for your customers, because you'll take the consequences if you don't, right? Next, under the product folder, we have number 2, ideation. Now, unlike the ideation folder under master, this is not to do with the conceptual of the campaign as a whole. This is to do with the ideation behind the design of the garments themselves. And so you might have, here we go, I've got for an example here, a design mood board, right? And so you might take other examples from other brands, from other pieces of clothing, maybe even from nature in the world, and you want to use these as design principles. This is where you can track it all. Number 3 is design iterations. Now, this is where, it's pretty self-explanatory. You might have an Illustrator or Photoshop file, and you are doing iterations on the same or a number of designs. This is where you keep all of those as well. You might want to go back into a later date and have them to refer to. Another thing you could do that I haven't included in this version of the folders, but you could even have more folders inside of number 3, design iterations, and you could have one for product 1, product 2, product 3, and then inside product 1, you could have draft 1, draft 2, draft 3, and so on and so forth. Number 4 is tech packs, right? And so this is where you take your product design and you put them in a form that the manufacturer is going to be able to read, understand, and create into something that you will be able to hold in your hand, something tangible, right? And so this, you would split up by the products, product 1, product 2, product 3, and you add notes to it. And of course, inside of here, you'll probably have iterations. So you might even want to create some subfolders under tech packs for each sample with notes, extra notes on the results of the samples, right? So that is all for number 2, product, if we come back out to our more master view here. So that's all for product. Next, what we have is marketing. All right, we come to number 3, marketing here, right? And marketing, this is the very important part, because you can have a great product, but you need someone to buy it, right? And so that's what the marketing about. How do we frame it? How do we get it in front of the people that are going to buy it? So the first one that I put here is just a file, and what I've called it is the master content schedule. And this is really great because I enjoy having a master content schedule, especially in an Excel file, or if you're using, a Google alternative, the Google Sheets, of having, this is the date, this is the type of content, this is the category, this is the platform, this is the name, this is the description, here's the status. Have we uploaded it? Have we created it? Has it already been sent out? Having the master content schedule is really important because it allows you to be prudent and diligent with the way in which the way that you're going to go about marketing your clothing campaign. Because if you don't tell people and in the right way about everything that you're doing and the clothing that you're releasing, chances are they're not going to buy it. Why? Because if people don't know about the product, how can they buy it? Very simply. And most people aren't going to know the first time or the second time. So you need a very elaborate content schedule. It's different maybe from your regular content schedule, specifically for a campaign, because the idea is that your campaign content schedule should be on top of your regular week-to-week, day-to-day brand page content schedule, right? So that I just like to keep that in the greatest most area. Next, number 2, we have the internal content, right? So in internal content, I'll quickly explain internal and external. Internal content and external content. Well, okay, sorry. Let's start with internal. Goodness, muddling my words here. Internal content is anything that you make yourself by the brand. External content is made by other people, right? For example, internal, you have posts, stories, reels, email marketing, and then you've got the lookbook, right? But all of this is going to have your brand stamp on it because you made it. External, however, is crowdsourced, right? So it's people in the community that create this content. So you have the two main types here, which is influencer content and then customer content, right? So influencer, pretty self-explanatory. If you send a garment out before you do the drop, highly recommended, and they take a photo, they've created that content, and that is crowdsourced. Or the customer one, most likely this will come afterwards, where you have happy customers that are posting on their story, hey, love this, screenshot it, chuck it into this folder. Very important because you can continuously post stuff. And if you have a big archive bank of lots of content, that's going to be very helpful for you down the line. Now, let's start with internal. I want to show you what's inside these folders because it's quite elaborate, everything I've got here going on. So first of all, the post. I mean, these are all pretty well the same except for the lookbook. We'll look at that by itself. But inside of all of these folders, what we've got is a date. Now, the way I've written the date, right, this is the date you might post it. The way I've written the date is first the year, then the month, and then the day. So this is 2024, the first month, January, and the first day. So this is the 1st of January 2024, right? The reason I've done that is, again, the forced order. Because if you do the year, think about the greatest most time category first, and then go the least most, and you do that in that order. I know we don't usually write date like that. And also, you probably don't need to write the year there unless you're crossing over the years for a campaign. But yeah, that's good. And then inside of these, you'll notice what I've done here. I've got 3 folders inside of a particular date. And just to be clear, the idea with the date is that like the way you do this is that, okay, here's all the posts, and then on this day we have a specific post, and on this day we have another post, and on this day we have another post, right? Inside these folders, what we have next are 3 folders: 1 original media, 2 project files, and 3 exports. Right? Original media is the actual stuff that you take. So if you take a number of photos or videos for a specific post, that's where the original media, the raw stuff, it goes in there. Then you have project file. Oh, sorry. The other one in original media that you might put is any assets, right? So if you download image assets off the internet, I'd still consider it raw, and so you'd put that in original media. Then you have project files, and this is where you might put, like if you're working with Adobe, you might put Photoshop file, you might put your Premiere Pro file. This is your project files. And then finally you have exports, right? And this is where you put your drafts and your final videos. But this is the complete MP4 or the complete JPEG, whatever it is. This is going to be the ready to upload space, right? And that's the same for all of these dates. You can see it's all the same in here, right? And it's the same is true if I move back across here, the same is true. You'll see for story, reel, email, right? It's all the same, right? Number 5, though, lookbook. This is a bit different. So what's under lookbook and what am I doing differently? So what I've got under lookbook is 2 categories. 1, model, 2, product, right? So model, the idea with model images or content is that they include your product on a model, like someone's wearing it. And the product folder is any images of a product without a model, right? So if you've ever seen those like over the top, looking down, overlay the product on a cement or in a studio or something, that's product. And then you've got someone wearing it, now that's a model, right? And you can break this up, product 1, 2, 3, and same with product, right? Product 1, 2, 3, and then you've got original media, project files, exports, all the same thing, right? If we come back out now to our Grader marketing folder, what we'll find is a final one, right? So, sorry. Actually, I need to go into external first. Yeah, but this is the same. Yeah, so external, first of all, you have influencers, right? What I've included here is an influencer list. The influencer list is going to be like, who are all the people you're messaging? Who are the people you're going to reach out to? And what's the status? Secondly, you have the number 2, customer, right? And so as I explained before, this is the other type of external content. You don't create it yourself, but it's something that your customers create. Maybe if they take a photo and post it after they've received the garments, right? So you got photos, you got videos here, and this is something like great to build an archive of this kind of content. Now, finally, I've got another folder down here that's called alternative, right? And so this is an alternative to doing the categorize, or the what would you call it? Yeah, so it's an alternative to the categorization of these folders, particularly under the marketing section. So instead of doing a under category of the type of content, or rather the format of the content, right? So is it a post, is it a story, is it a lookbook, is it influencer, is it customer? The alternative is doing it by date first, right? And so this is something that you can choose. Instead of having internal and external, you just have the choose by date, right? So you have week 1, and then inside of here you've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then inside of here you have the original media, project files, and exports, like just as before. But the idea is that you choose one of them. Like you either do internal and external, or the week to week base. And like the way it works is that, like, say, in week 1 of the drop, or week 1, leading up to the drop, Monday we have, these posts, like this post, this reel, this story, and then Tuesday, this post, this reel, this story, and then Wednesday. And then like something else, like even you could add to this folder system here under the alternative, where you've still got some of the external stuff, like with the influencers and customers, if you just still wanted to keep a separate archive of that. But yeah, so anyway, this is the file management system. Some of the things that I've picked up from my time as a videographer for some pretty large brands in the fashion space. And I hope that you've picked up maybe some helpful tips also in this short video. I hope you have. And look, if this was helpful, you can trust that I post a lot more helpful things out there. And so I encourage you, please take a moment to look at the link in the description and join my community of at the moment we have 45 motivated, passionate brand owners in there who are sharing value, asking questions, who've got similar problems as you, and they're getting answers. And one of the things that I'll say is that you can download the zip file for this entire resource by simply joining the community. It'll be in there for free, but only for those who join. So if you'd like to join and save you the time making it yourself, because this takes a long time to make, just join the community. It's 100% free. There's no catch, and it's especially for you if you run a streetwear brand and you want to take it to the next level this year. So look, I'm Elijah Delport. Thank you for listening. Join Streetwear 365, the community for brand owners, and I'll see you for another video.